Welcome back to the channel, you SOBs. Appreciate you for tuning in. You guys ready for World War III yet? Oh, it's so exciting, right? I've always dreamt of living in a nuclear wasteland. What about you guys? Sounds fantastic, honestly. Because guess what? That is literally what we're getting ready to go into. If these people are not, by the fate of God, stopped and or find clarity and level-headedness, okay? Let's just jump right into this article. French President Emmanuel Macron is now openly discussing the possibility of sending European troops to Ukraine to fight the Russians, which would, without doubt, trigger World War III between major nuclear powers. You hear that? Sounds fun. Guess what? Nuclear warheads are ancient technology. You don't think that they've got better ways of killing people now than that shit? 80-year-old tech, son. Of course they got better ways of killing than that now. It's just what we know is our worst case scenario. But guess what? Everybody's keeping their cards real close to their chest, and nobody's saying anything about what they're getting ready to do, right? So just know we got bigger problems than nukes coming our way, okay? His words came just at the end of the summit held in Paris to support Ukraine, which involved 20 mainly European leaders. He said of efforts to arm Ukrainians with more advanced weapons, people used to give them just sleeping bags and helmets, but he emphasized that now nothing should be ruled out. You hear that? Nothing should be ruled out. Holy shit, that sounds exciting, doesn't it? Ooh, maybe they're going to give them F-22 Raptors? I bet you somebody's going to give them some F-22 Raptors, son. Then that makes sense? Let's just go and give them all over to Ukraine. You got to wonder if they're going to end up actually being used or even just sold on the black market and then the money ends up in other people's hands. Food for thought. He admitted there is as yet no census on sending Western troops to Ukraine, but he laid out that we will do anything we can to prevent Russia from winning this war that they're losing right now. Okay? They're going to sit here and come out and tell you, we've only lost 36,000 Ukrainians. Man. If you believe that only 36,000 Ukrainians have died in this war, this 2-year-long war with literal trench warfare, tanks, and one side having aerial superiority, I want to sell you a bridge today, all right? Just be great. So, they'll do anything, boys and girls, all right? Macron warned in his remarks there is a change in Russia's stance. It is striving to take on further territory, and it has its eyes not just on Ukraine, but on many other countries as well. So Russia is presenting a greater danger. Oh my God, they've got to be stopped, guys. They've got to be stopped. We have to send your sons, your daughters, your uncles, and your fathers to go die because they have to be stopped, right? God, this is ridiculous. So just know that's what's getting ready to happen. You know, if you're 65, whatever, you don't got anything to worry about, right? But people who are younger got major problems coming their way. All right. There's no turning back. Get any idea of things going back to normal out of your head. We are being attacked daily. May I remind you of the AT&T hack? Which they can't even bullshit that it wasn't a hack anymore. Everybody knows, man. The internet is just laughing at them. It was the sun. Right, brother. Right. Whatever you got to say, man. You know? So, wait till that's a water facility or the power grid. And then they take the comms out. Okay? You want to talk about mass chaos? And then, not only that, if this pharmaceutical thing doesn't get fixed, we've got major problems on that front alone. Hospitals, not much news about it, but guess what? They are barely functioning right now. Barely functioning. So let's hope that gets fixed. But guess what? One of those hacks get through. She done. So we're at a critical moment in this conflict that requires us to take the initiative. Macron said while also unveiling a new European coalition, which is to provide Kyiv. Ooh, a new European coalition, guys. Did you hear that? Huh. Diet NATO. Fantastic. It almost sounds like they're going to make that so they can get around NATO's rules. I don't know. I guess we're going to find out either way, right? Which is to provide Kyiv with medium-range and long-range missiles. They have said from the beginning, long-range missiles would generate World War III, and that's why we intentionally never gave them long-range missiles, because they could strike Moscow, right? And they knew that it would create World War III. We're past that, baby. Mission creep all the way, son. All right? President Putin and top Kremlin officials have repeatedly rejected the charge that Russia is seeking to wage an expansionist war in Europe and in other former Soviet satellite states. According to CNN, Macron had told the reporters at news conference that while he and the other 21 European leaders present did not agree on deploying military personnel, the prospect was discussed openly. They're talking about it. Or was it this meeting was a meeting to determine when and how these troops will be deployed? You think about that? Because I can guarantee you that's what's going on. They have given us a masterclass in doublespeak. All right, I never even knew what it was until 4 years ago, when the great start of all this, right? Then we got a masterclass. And then us Americans got to find out exactly what doublespeak is, because they use it on us, right? Tell you one thing, they're going to do the exact opposite, all right? Start getting that into your OODA loop. However, Germany, the UK, Poland, and others rejected the possibility of deploying troops, with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who was among those present, later emphasizing that participants were unanimous in being set against it. Unanimous in being set for it. All right. They are telling you what they are getting ready to do. So, the statement out of the UK Prime Minister's office was interesting, given and amidst the small number of personnel already on the ground in Ukraine. You know how they emphasize small, right? When we know it's not small, right? It's been escalating since day one 2 years ago, right? So, it's quite a large force, all right? And then, whatever happened to all of Britain's troops, man? I knew at the beginning of this they were unbelievably gung-ho about sending troops in. Last I heard, they got all wrapped up real quick. And listen, I'm not on anybody's side here. I do not want war. I do not want war. I do not want to have to go to war. And it is something that nobody should be rooting on for, all right? I don't give a shit what side you're on. Because if you are rooting for war, you are going to see an immense amount of your family, friends, shit, your coworkers die, all right? Or get unalived. I'm going to edit that, son of a gun. But either way, Britain is not planning a large-scale deployment of troops in Ukraine, Prime Minister Sunak's press secretary said, other than a small number of personnel who are in the country supporting the Ukrainian armed forces. We have no plans for large-scale deployment. We have plans for large-scale deployment. Just remember the doublespeak I was just talking about. He was quoted as saying by Reuters, they're getting you guys mentally ready for this, all right? This is them saying, hey, we're getting ready to unload a shit ton of people over the border. And then not only that, Russia's preparing for it as of today. They are amassing an unbelievably large force on their borders, okay? You think they haven't known this was coming? They have been stockpiling for this since what? The fall of the wall, right? They've known, okay? And when you look into these stockpiles, they're absolutely immense and unbelievable. And it's not just guns and ammo. It is every raw material that they would need to be a functional civilization for probably the next 20 years. Iron, steel, you name it, man. It's truly staggering when you look at it. Now you got to ask yourself, did your country do that for you? Did they even make you bunkers? Bet they didn't, because I know mine didn't. They're going to leave our ass out to get slaughtered, all right? So, Germany's Schultz tried to caution what was agreed among ourselves and with each other from the very beginning also applies to the future, namely that there will be no ground troops, no soldiers on Ukrainian soil sent there by European countries or NATO countries. So full shit. Macron's bluster further resulted in NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg issuing a response. NATO allies are providing unprecedented support in Ukraine. We have done that since 2014 and stepped up after the full-scale invasion, but there are no plans for NATO combat troops on the ground. Oh, God. Crazy, man. Crazy. Let's talk about Macron. Do you guys remember his last election period? They showed pictures of him in his office. He had paintings that emulated Napoleon Bonaparte. The man has been wanting a war so he can immortalize himself in history. A very egotistical man, right? I don't know if he's short. He could be short. Who knows? Hard to say, right? So he's been wanting this for a very long time. And they've been gearing up for it, man. So, as for the Kremlin response to Macron raising the issue of boots on the ground, it was snippy and sarcastic, calling out French hypocrisy. And my God, the hypocrisy is thick. As for Emmanuel Macron's statement about potentially deploying NATO troops to Ukraine, one gets a strong feeling that the French president realizes neither what his supporters say nor what he says himself, the diplomat wrote on Telegram. Zakharova pointed out in his regard just a month ago the top French diplomat had denied that Paris was involving in recruiting mercenaries for the Kyiv regime, slamming direct evidence as crude Russian propaganda. That's another factor we haven't mentioned, right? They sidestep all of their own rules and deploy mercenaries. We've been at war, man. They just haven't made it official so it doesn't freak you out. But I'm sure we're at the point now where they think that this shit has been going on long enough now where you're comfortable with the idea and or you are revved up enough, right? With their 2 years of propaganda demonizing a specific subject, right? So, referencing an infamous French SS division from World War II. Ooh, gotta pull out that Nazi, can't say that word. Doesn't have to do that. Mess up a while ago. We'll just skip that. From World War II. Zakharova further equipped. Emmanuel, have you decided to form a Charmelin-Dix division to defend Zelensky's bunker? But Moscow also warned of major direct conflict with the West. According to more from the Kremlin response, the fact of discussing the possibility of sending certain contingents to Ukraine from NATO countries is a very important new element. In that case, we would need to talk about the probability, but about the inevitability. They're telling you. They're telling you what's getting ready to happen. But the Kremlin wasn't the only one to provide a sarcastic critique of Macron's words. God, he's just a loser too. Ugh. This was the tone even among some allies. For example, Germany's Deputy Chancellor Robert Habeck called out France for not doing much heavy lifting on transferring weapons to Kyiv compared to other in the alliance. All right. We're going to go to war. You need to get ready. You need to get your friends ready, family ready. And I can't tell you what to do when that draft hits, but do what you think is the smartest move for the preservation of your family's life. Whatever it takes. It is your family. But either way, you need to be getting ready. God bless. You guys have a great day. Let's pray that it does not come to this. All right. Later on.